I like drama.
You like drama?
I love drama. I just want to fast forward all the tattoos and I want to see what's going on.
Stop. Ink Master, the soap opera. Hey everybody, welcome back to No More Ink. I'm Ryan Ashley. You all just watched the latest episode of Ink Master. Now we get to sit down with the most recent artist to leave the competition, Hiram. All right, let's get into it. So, tell me about your Ink Master journey. What was the first season that you competed on?
Well, my first time here was on the Tour of War, season 13. It was fun. I always have fun. I like competition, so to me it's always like super fun.
Yeah. What about the feeling when you got that call to come back?
Like, hey, you want to come back? And I was like, just say when. Just say when. I'm ready. And they were like, it's going to be pretty soon. You're going to do a lot of stuff. And like, I'm ready. But when you come to this kind of environments, you have so many people with so many styles and it's inspiring to me. I always want to like, I feel like every time I come here and compete in the same conventions, I go back home and I'm like ready to do more. I'm ready to like get new experience and new artwork and stuff like that.
Did you go back and sort of refresh anything? Did you go over like any styles? Because being your second round in the competition, you're no longer that deer in headlights. You know how the game is played. You know the things that are gonna be thrown at you.
That's what I thought. I thought I was like, I don't really have to rehearse, you know. I already know how this game is played and I'm gonna go there and do well. And then I realized that everything is different. It's a new judge, it's a completely new set of bias. It's like they appreciate art in a completely different way. Okay, so this is ground zero all over again. So everything that I thought was ready for is not.
So when you realized that we'd flipped not just aspects of the game, but we'd flipped the whole game in every way, were you nervous?
I was like, I know they're gonna be judging differently. I was like, oh, okay, how is this gonna work? Because we're still gonna be judging the traditional aspect of tattooing. I was nervous because to me it's like, yeah, you know, am I be able to go around just by artwork and presenting some aesthetic pleasing stuff? Or no, they're gonna come at me with like technical stuff and I'm gonna have to like balancing it out.
I do think one of the cool things about this new season is that between Nico, Ami, and I, we represent like 3 different generations of tattooing. We saw and understood you guys on a lot deeper levels.
It makes it, it just makes it easy for us too because I'm only been tattooing for like 11 years, but I never did an apprenticeship. I have an art background, so to me, transitioning to tattooing, which is like grabbing a new medium. You know? I feel like my shield was always the artwork. Like, you know, if you can present, you know, like decent aesthetic pieces that, and then when you get judged by people that were so technical and so settled in their own ways, it's just a different.
It's a different viewpoint.
Yeah.
It's a different
which I appreciate
perception.
too.
Absolutely, no, absolutely, totally. So you have an art background and you're self-taught. Give me a little bit more insight on your story, where you came from, how you got to where you are now.
I'm from Cuba, so self-taught is kind of like the only way you can get self-taught in tattooing in Cuba because we have this kind of legal limbo, you know. It's not illegal to tattoo, but at the same time, there's no institution granting a permit, so nobody is actually, you know, allowed to tattoo, but everybody does it, so it's more like...
It's a gray area.
It's a really gray area because you could be doing it for 10 years and one of the sudden they'll be like, hey, you know what, you're not supposed to do this and we're just gonna confiscate everything. Your entire, you know...
Is it still to this day?
It is like that, you know, it's just it's gray area. When like, yeah, we're allowed to do it because, you're probably not damaging anybody, but at the same time, if something goes out of hand, keep in mind that you're now supposed to be doing this legally, you know? There's no department, you know, taking care of it. So to me, it was just that, you know, I just started learning like it's a new medium. My first tattoo I did on my sister, my little sister. She was the only one that trusts me enough to like, let me try. I was always trying to be responsible about it, so I didn't try to run, you know, before I was able to walk. So I was doing like, you know, small tattoos, really simple stuff. Just getting, you know, have fun with the technique. The art background helps me in terms of like, I understand how it's supposed to look. You know, how the end product, you know, when I get good enough at it, is supposed to look.
It's so interesting hearing, you know, stories like yours because to me, they're true underdog stories. It wasn't even legal, technically, you know, when and where you started. And so when I hear artists that are as humble and kind and just genuinely lovely as you are.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And I hear the place that you came from, you know, in the industry and where you are now. It humbles me because you use it almost as a springboard, you know, to inspire you further. And I think that's incredible, Hiram.
And I'm so blessed. You know, I'm in this country, you know, and it's such a big contrast from where I came from. that here, you know, as soon as I came to the United States, I just realized that there's no limit. It's like I have so many opportunities that I never had before. Like on the go, I just put a step here and opportunities start like arising. And it's like, how can I have excuses? It's like, it's on me. Learning the language, it was the first, you know, I came here with no English, and it's like...
No English?
I know how to say my name, you know, I know how to ask you time and say how are you, but no real English. I was going shop by shop, you know, trying to get a job. Most people were rejecting me, but my wife was coming with me, and she was kind of like being the manager, you know, she was just like selling. It's like, this guy can tattoo, you know, give him a chance. People are trying to show my work, and she was like going, you know, with me every single time to every single shot and trying to like sell me. And I was just like, yeah, give me a chance, you know. So that's what I say, and I'm always be surrounded by great people, you know. They always have my back.
She must be so proud.
Oh, she's so supportive, you know. I'm blessed.
So you're not only a self-taught tattooer, you came over from Cuba and also taught yourself English?
You have to. I mean, like, you have to communicate. Like, it wasn't a choice. That's what I'm saying. You know?
Do you know how impressive that is? I can't believe you.
You have to. It's like it wasn't a choice. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna teach myself English because, you know, one day I'm gonna be Ryan Ashley. I'm gonna brag about it. It's not that. But I have to. How I'm gonna survive? You know, I have to get better at my craft because this is what pays my bills. You know, you have to be humble about it. You know, you know your place and try to do better. To me, it's just a process. You know, I don't think it's nothing to like brag about. It just happens the way it was supposed to happen. I was lucky.
I think it's something to brag about.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Given all of that, you know, when it came to your elimination, this pinup challenge, how do you think that whole thing went down? Were you expecting to go home on this particular challenge?
I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready for you to go home either, Hiram.
I can tell you this about myself. I'm not a sore loser. I always take and I always try to, you know, get away from myself, you know, look everything from the outside. I just wasn't ready. I'm still fighting with it, you know. Even it's done, you know, we move forward, you know, the season is over. In my head, I'm still like, how could that happen? To me, it's an animal pinup. I automatically say, okay, it's like a graphic from the 30s to 60s. You know, it looks this way. A lot of people have done it. It's on a specific, you know, imagery. So that's why when you see a model today, you wouldn't call it a pinup unless it's in this specific environment, you know, aesthetically.
Right.
So that's what my mind went through. My mind's like, okay, it has to look this way. When you say animal, I'm just adding to it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna put an animal face, an animal body, but it's still this. That's why it gets me a little bit surprised when I didn't anticipate that my problem would be that I wasn't able to move around, you know, and play with the concept.
I mean, I was on your side for this one, Hiram. I remember, like, because when it came down to it, it was between you and Holly. Looking at the two tattoos, they both had some issues, but I looked at your tattoo and I was like, that is an outstanding, very talented black and gray artist who just ran out of time. Hiram's tattoo has anatomical issues in the feet, so does Holly's. Hiram's tattoo has anatomical issues in the hands, so does Holly's. When it comes to the face, I far prefer Hiram's face. If all of the mistakes are the same and all of the tricks are the same, then what I have left is which tattoo is more visually appealing, and I think it's Hiram's.
Don't get me wrong, I see all the mistakes on my tattoo. So I would never go here and try to, like, you know, fool the public and fool the people that are adjusting. Everything that you guys point out, it was true, it was there. And I know I failed, but I failed trying to accomplish all these parameters that were included in the challenge. You know, to me, it's just harder to like see people succeed when, in my opinion, they didn't try all that. But again, you know, that's the subjective part of it. So it's just me, you know, giving my opinion. And every opinion is as strong as mine, especially when we are not in a position of power. I'm not a judge. That's when we lean on the judges, because we appreciate that you guys can get away from that and not be biased and just point your honest truth. There's no way for me to not be biased at that moment. You know, I'm trying to defend my work and I'm extremely biased. I think what I did is better, you know, but I could be wrong and I'm ready to be wrong. That's why I say the opinion.
I don't think you were wrong. I would think you're right. That's why I'm like, you voice your opinion.
But there's 4 people saying it.
That is true. That is true. But this is a perfect example of exactly how Ink Master happens.
I know, yeah.
This is what happens in this competition when you get a challenge. You're not just an artist. You're not like, oh, what if we'd combine an animal and a pinup and we made this cool thing? You're not thinking like that. You're like, okay, there's the challenge. There's the technical fundamentals. There's the artistry behind it. There's the skull pick. There's the time. There's the canvas. There's all of these factors.
And there's 4 judges.
And there's 4 judges, right? And these are all of the challenges, you know, when we talk about this being a mental and emotional battle along with tattooing, this is a perfect example of everything that goes through the mind of a competitor on Ink Master. There's so many different factors that come into play when you're in the game, and you're in it.
That's what makes it fun. That's why, you know, the first thing I say, you know, as soon as I left, you know, deal with my own, I don't want to say depression, but my own, you know, frustration. And I'm like, all right, you know, this happens. I'm ready to come back.
So after season 13, season 14, everything that's gone on the way that it has, how do you project that your life might change now after this whole experience?
I mean, it's the same as the first time. I mean, I'm just growing, you know, as a person, as an individual, and as an artist. Going through the next challenge, you know, I have to keep the same attitude, you know, and just be grateful about everything that I got, and just try to stay ambitious, to, you know, try to like move forward and try to do better. Learn from the experience. I'm like I always say, you know, every time you put me in this kind of environment, I'm always gonna try to do good. And hopefully one day, I'll nail it, you know.
And what if you get the call the 3rd time?
Oh, I'm coming back.
Yeah, you're
I'm
coming right back?
Of course I'm coming back. I have fun. You know, a lot of people think this is about the end. To me, it's about the process. I really, really enjoy the process, and I think that's why I don't get that emotional about it. I'm really enjoying the day-by-day thing, and if I make it to the end, that means day by day I was doing good. Like I don't get frustrated about that, about not making it to the end. I think if I had the chance, I'll make it better, and I do it better.
What are you hoping to accomplish for yourself in the future, and what does your biggest dream look like?
I'm a familiar person, so I just trying to do better for me and my family. You know, I'm just expanding my studio right now, make it bigger, adding more people, stay inspired. I think it's the secret. That's what I want to do. You know, I feel like I'm just trying to pursue happiness. My artwork is what is a big part of, you know, of me being happy. So just get better at it, you know, keep accumulating experience, you know. Hopefully I'll be able to repeat the ones that I fail, you know, and do better. I don't know, at the same time I get into this position in my life, you know, when I see to the future, it's crazy. I don't know, I just want to be, you know, have family, have grandchildren. So, you know, I feel like I envision myself just having a garden and people surrounding me. I'm a social person too, you know. I feel like everything that makes happiness to me means people surrounding me.
You almost made me tear. I'm almost like tearing up a little bit, Hiram. You're so sweet.
That's how I am. You know, I keep telling people right now because I think a lot of my friends are talking about, you know, all the stuff that they will do in the future, like getting this nice stuff like Lamborghinis and everything. And I'm like, I don't know why, you know, the older I get, the more I envision just, the only thing I have is grandchildren, you know, and like having them play surrounding me, you know, like on a garden, and like, yeah, that's happiness.
I am tearing up. Oh my God, I am
I'm
tearing
pretty simple.
up a little.
I'm pretty simple.
No, I think I'm like, I don't know. I connect with that so much because I don't know, I truly have the same goal, the same life goal. Yeah. Everything along the way, you know, when it comes to details, they're just details, right? The end goal for me, and for you it sounds like, is contentment. Whatever that means, happiness, in whatever capacity.
That's my thing. I don't think happiness means anything besides happy moments. So I'm just trying to collect as many happy moments as I can, you know. I'm never gonna be fully happy, always gonna be stuff, you know, like triggering my mind and make me concerned about stuff, but as long as I can, you know, try to have as many happy moments as possible, I'll be fine.
Oh, Hiram, you're gonna have a very happy life, and I feel like you're gonna inspire a lot of people along the way who are following your journey, and hopefully, if anyone has not been following your journey, they will be now. I'm glad that I had this experience with you. I love your work, and I love your character, and thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Wow, well, thank you guys for joining us today, and don't forget to check out the Ink Master YouTube for everything Ink Master.